Hello, world! We are Sasha and the cat, and we're back here again with our first December episode.
The end of 2020.
I know. We definitely have a fun month coming up for our Twitch streams. Um, well, if you're just joining us for the first time, we are Sasha and the cat. It's a live forum for all your business ideas. So if you're just joining and you have a side hustle or full-time hustle that you want to share thoughts about and ideas you're not sure about, we'd love to hear it and help and be here while we talk about our own businesses as well.
And our weeks and what happened and things we were working on. That's Kat. This is Sasha. We have a couple topics that we already have in store today, but feel free to jump in at any point and ask any questions related to any guidance or just random things that you thought of pertaining to your side hustle or your entrepreneurship project, we'll call it. Yeah. Should we just dive in?
Sure. Well, to recap my week and your week.
Yes.
A little bit before we get in there. So for the kits and pieces, well, this weekend, I was not working really as much. However, our marketing friend was doing a hell of a lot of collab work for me. So that was awesome. So basically, I mean, I've never really done a formal collab before. So we kind of wanted to get the gist of like, you know, who we should be reaching out to, what do we say, what do we offer, what's the time frame, like all these things that we didn't know about. And so she probably reached out to like maybe 15 people or something. And so I'm going to take a look at it today and kind of see like where we're at. But that was awesome because even if I don't get any big collabs in for December, it's like at least we get the groundwork in of like, you know, maybe these people are already planning for like February or something. Like, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And this week I'm also gonna get a lot more into Instacart because your girl needs to fund her marketing friend.
That's so good though. I noticed the posts, mostly story posts.
Right. I'm still
were
handling
really nice.
Instagram posts.
They're like all consistent too, and I like how she tied in, or maybe it was you. I can't tell if it's you or her, which is a good thing also. Like, you know what I mean? But the little trees.
Oh yes. So she like combines
like how you guys featured it from a different page, but then you were like, we also have it. Boom, here's the link. Check it out. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I know. I'm like, definitely also I've gotten like feedback from a couple of people of like, because I don't see what the package looks like when it ends up at their place, you know? So like with Taryn and stuff, so I'm like, oh, okay, let me do some stuff here. So that's been helpful. And then definitely now we're going to be talking about UI and stuff. I am super excited because I want to revamp the Etsy and the website for the UI side, not like not redesign it, but redesign.
I know. It. Sorry for my random long voice text of my vision.
Dude, I didn't even hear it yet. I was like, I need to listen to the one today. I'm gonna play this.
No, the one today isn't the one. I think it's the one from yesterday.
Yeah, and I started listening, but I was like, I'm so angry.
I know. I'll just say it in this one instead, and we'll have that be part of our UI conversation. Maybe people can give us feedback.
I'm very excited. I would like to hear it one more time. And then also, so yeah, this week is going to be a big UI week. Like, I feel like I want to be on Pinterest, make sure everything's on Pinterest, make sure everything on Etsy is up to date, and the website. So then next week I'll be doing more, I want to start looking at like funding.
Oh, good. Yay, that's awesome. especially heading into like the new year. That's a good manifestation to make.
Well, I finally got a business credit card, so that's exciting.
Oh my gosh, I know, that's so good. And the amount's a good amount. Like, that's
Yeah.
a comfortable amount, so that's great.
So at least make it through the next wave of
Yeah.
things. It's just so hard. I'm also like, okay, I'm done using my money. I mean, that's still my money, but I need to, if I'm gonna do this, it needs to be other people.
Yeah.
But I do like want to work on this stuff this week and next week, but then kind of like final push the Christmas stuff, but then close up shop from the 21st to the 30th, just because I won't be here. But it'll also be good because then I never stop.
I know,
Thinking
that'll be
about
such a good break. And I think then you'll come back with like a refreshed perspective.
Yeah. And it'll be good because I won't be on like this hard deadline. Man, I don't know, like thinking back on it, I was like, I shouldn't have pushed so hard for Christmas because that's such a hard niche. It's not a niche, but a hard thing to break into because everyone's doing it. So
Everyone's doing it, I know.
So we'll see.
But a lot of entrepreneurship is just trial and error. So if anything, like you trial and error this Christmas thing, but after that, it'll be like a whole different thing.
Right. And then it's like, man, I put out 3 kits, but maybe I should have just put out 1 because maybe next year if I put out 2 more, my photography will be so much better by then, or my product choices. So, yes. So that's my week. How was your week?
My week. Where do I start?
You got a new rug.
I got an amazing rug. It's kind of in the corner. But no, the house is coming together, which is really nice and a little more comfortable. Lately, I've just been like waking up and then just working in the extra room we have is like the office. So I just I'm there all day. And by the end of it, I'm just like, oh my God, I haven't even like been outside yet. And then it's like dark by 5 or 6. And I'm just like, where did the day go? So that's been kind of like, but I transitioned this week to mostly working online. I finished my clinic hours for this quarter. So next quarter is my final quarter of school for acupuncture. So that's awesome. And then I'm working with the Upwork client that I still have on like designing this online course. And then I started the new job with like an app company. And it's been really cool. Like they've taught me a lot just in what they use program and software wise to keep everyone in the loop and just keep communication smooth across like all the departments. So I hope to we could probably have that be another conversation in a future.
Well, in actually, I think next week, I wanted to do goal charts.
Oh, that's right.
But also in the goal charts, I wanted to talk about our trends for. Oh no, sorry. Our goal charts and do our top websites of 2020.
Oh, okay.
So maybe
Perfect.
You can talk about that. Your favorite.
Yeah. Yes,
your new favorite.
That's perfect.
And then.
But yeah, so it's been cool to learn from them on that end. And then they also potentially may have me work on the design aspect of them. And just kind of helping them with the UI, the user interface, and how easy it is to use or understand to someone that's new to the software or the program or app. So I guess that's also why my brain started thinking about that in general, was because of them mentioning it. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. And then on top of that, that's about it. This coming week, I think, will be a lot smoother because I won't have clinic. I still have 2 classes that I can't wait to be done with. But I'll have more time since I won't have clinic. So I plan to do more work for the Upwork stuff. And then I have a bunch of holiday orders to send out for Botana Bites, which is what I was working on. I might do some during this call, but there's 20 plus orders.
What? Where'd you just randomly get that?
They send them to their family and friends every year. Okay. So it's kind of just this thing that we've been doing as a little gift. So they send 8 packs of Botana Bites. So it's a lot at once, so it's kind of overwhelming, but at least I'm not in an RV anymore. so there's a lot more space to do it in.
Do you feel better?
But yeah, so I'll try to get those out like today and tomorrow. And then Dakota's birthday's tomorrow, so that's like another thing this week.
Oh,
but I think we're gonna wait
December.
until the weekend to celebrate it because whatever.
I'm sure, yeah, the busy week.
Yeah, we're working too much. It's like not even worth it. So
Yeah. That's crazy. And can you believe, like, by the end of this week, we're pretty much almost halfway through.
I know. I can't wait for 2020 to be over, though. I'm just hoping there's a different energy next year.
Watch it be like the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it will be. I mean, I've heard people are going to start, like, posting job openings online, like, for January already. So it's like people are, maybe they're just waiting for that date to just kind of be like,
right.
Do you think it's going to be like
That's
an explosion of, like, change, whether it's like jobs or platforms or whatever?
Probably. I can't handle too much more change.
Like,
and
whatever,
I love change.
Whatever change happens needs to be in this apartment.
Yeah. Well, I had like a breakdown in the middle of this week because I kept feeling like stressed and overwhelmed. And I couldn't really pinpoint why, because I'm ultimately like thankful for the position I'm in now and like the new opportunities that I'm having. But I think because all of 2020 has just been this constant like change. I mean, I've changed jobs like 4 times and other stuff too. But I kept feeling like I'll try to get into a new routine and be like, okay, this is the new setup. And then I'll start making plans and like scheduling stuff. And then like 2 weeks later, boom, something happens. And then it all changes. And then I'm like, okay, I'll move with this one. And then I start like reconfiguring my schedule for that. And then again and again and again.
It's exhausting.
And I'm just like, I'm good with rolling with the punches. And I think if it were someone else, they would have already imploded. So at least there's that. But I was just like feeling emotional about it because I was just like, this is too much. Like, but I feel like now I'm finally in, hopefully, like a new schedule and like a new routine. But it's one that I didn't expect, or it's like kind of like it just happened out of nowhere. So I'm kind of like new at it.
Right. And plus your one job is really like 4 jobs within that.
Yeah.
Like Upwork.
Yeah. Exactly. And I got a new client last week. I don't think I mentioned that, but I got a new client for like design stuff, which is going to be super part-time, like 2 to 5 hours per week, like really nothing. But, you know, it's still like something else to compartmentalize. Like every client is, or everything you do really is like a separate box. And especially as an entrepreneur, you have to have like boxes within those boxes.
Right.
And all the different things.
It's a very Russian doll experience.
Yeah. So I think that part of it was kind of like overwhelming to me, where I'm like thankful that I got the opportunity, but also like, holy shit, another thing just came and I wasn't like fully expecting it. Yeah. So I'm going to hold off from applying for more clients on Upwork and just kind of like manage what I have now. I did set a couple deadlines for myself to be done with a couple clients and like finish with their work. That way I like don't feel as overwhelmed or like there's too much that's like lingering for too long, which I think is important. But yeah, that's kind of my week / this coming week.
So really just trying to get on a good routine.
Yeah. Routine is so key for success. Like, and just managing stress. I feel like you have to have a...
No! I lost her. Sorry. For managing stress, you cut out.
Do you have me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, mostly just for managing stress.
It's just like, I know, I feel like last week, that was me where I was just like, I don't know. Everything's happening, so nothing's happening. But I think this week, I'm going to give it another, I feel like I have to think of it in like really short-term goals. Like to me, it's like really 2 more weeks of pushing Christmas, and I just have to think about that. Like I can't just like, oh, but then this, and then this, and then this.
Yeah.
Why are you cutting out? I'm very angry right now. Okay, you're back.
I think it's,
Is there too many things in here?
I exited out of the Twitch thing. I feel like it was taking up too much of my connection.
Got you. All right, so let's get into UI, UX. So let's first define UI, UX, because I'm going to do UI versus UX here.
Yeah.
So UX
design.
Design, yes. And then user experience is UX, because experience.
Ah.
And then user interface is the UI. And then UI is more based on how you interact with the items, right? But then UX is the whole experience.
Right.
The page. Okay, so tell us. No! Dude, what is going on? Okay, it's back.
Sorry, I'm getting food from the kitchen. Is my connection really that bad?
It's like stopping as you move.
Damn, it is that bad.
Okay, you're good.
I don't know why it's that bad.
Now your face is gone.
No, I know.
Oh.
I was closing out programs to see if that helped. Anyway, so I don't know. I guess UI and UX are new terms for me, but yet I feel like they're underneath everything. Like, it's something that we think about all the time, but just never had like a term for it, or I guess like a category that it goes in. But I feel like whenever you create a business, you're obviously thinking of the user interface and the experience in everything you do, like not just online, but also like if you have a farmer's market event or anything. If someone sees a post, you're thinking like, how is this like easiest to understand? What's going to make them click on a link? Like, I don't know. To me, it kind of connects to everything related to someone's experience with like your brand or your company. And then the design, I guess I always pictured would be more of like the aesthetic, like what looks most appealing, but also like simple, modern, and kind of just formal in a sense, but still like very user friendly. And then on top of that, it's like, how is the design allowing the person to navigate through all of it successfully and efficiently and well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, as I mentioned, like the new job I have, kind of mentioned I might do a little bit on this end of just designing the UI of their app, but I started thinking of it more for your thing, because...
Is this the voice text?
Yes, I'm going to say the voice text. My vision, okay, so literally I woke up Sunday morning, and I didn't go to bed until like 2 the night before because I couldn't sleep because I'm crazy. But I woke up and I was like in a half sleep, and I just like envisioned how it could look. And I don't know if like Squarespace allows this or if like a different website would be better. But what I imagined was either a page, almost kind of like a menu, or which would lead to like a sequence of pages based on like them clicking at the end, or just all on one page, like a continuous flow, almost like an order form, but like a continuous flow. So I was thinking the first area that they would start with would be the type of kit. So like keep it simple could just be tableware, or like level up could be tableware and one wall piece. Yes. And then forget me not or something cute could be like the whole package, because it's like people are going to come, they're never going to forget it type of thing. And then they choose that first, and then the next screen or the next thing would just be the number of guests. So that's when they choose how many people are going to go. And it could be a range, like for your end, it could just be a range of people, even though they're putting in like more exact numbers or something.
Right.
And like whenever they answer these options, the system is automatically calculating what the cost is going to be of that kit,
right,
based on their answers. So then the next page could be add-ons, and maybe it could say, like, give them a preview of like what their... The next page would be add-ons. Did you lose me?
Yes. Why is it so bad today? Okay, I don't know. Then the next page could be add-ons. Go from there.
Yeah. So then I could have a preview cost of what they're already at, but then ask if they want to do add-ons based on the theme they chose. And I don't know if they should choose the theme before everything, or, yeah, I feel like they should start with the theme. Yeah. But like maybe just type in like the first page. Sorry, I should have said this first. But the first thing could just be like a search bar on your website where
Like
they
what
just
type
type
of
in
party?
Halloween.
I could even be like, what type of party are you having? And they could just click from there. Like,
yeah,
birthday
right.
or whatever.
So then the next screen could show the different themes for what they chose. Or even if they choose a color, like, oh, I want a purple theme, then maybe color could also pop up.
Right.
And then...
But then, I guess for me, it's like, I like the step-by-step...
my connection's getting bad.
I think the step-by-step thing, can you hear me, is good. I just don't know if Squarespace has that ability in terms of products.
Yeah.
That's where it's like you almost need like another person, or you have to.
You would need like a web developer.
Yeah. Right. Like you would need someone to develop it, or get really, really crafty where they're just basically filling out the form, but it still kind of takes you to the same spots. Or the other thing is, can I share my screen?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm just going to use mine just because it's easier. Like, since it doesn't have UI. Where are you? Where's Sasha? Okay. So, because I haven't set up my website up really for UI related things, it's
Did you share your screen?
No, I didn't yet.
Okay.
Can I now?
I think it should be okay, but
it says
I don't know.
You disabled participant screen sharing.
How do I fix that crap?
Nose flare.
Nose flare. No, it's not in meeting settings, which is where it should be.
Or can you just go to the Kits and Pieces then and share? Oh no, but you're on your phone. Ah!
No, I have my computer. Waiting room, lock meeting, hold. Allow participants to share screen.
Yes!
Oh, I did it.
Okay. Am I sharing it?
It says Chris Croce has started sharing his screen.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's there.
Okay. So, whatever. I need to... This banner is, like, ginormous, but we're not talking about that right now. So, like, if you go to... Whatever. Slay All Day Holiday Kit. Okay. So, even this, it's like... When you get to this page, it's like you already know that you want this kit. Right? Even if you're selecting these add-ons. But in the beginning, I almost feel like if I click Shop Party Kits, instead of showing all the kits like this, it should show almost like it should prompt you with the form that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, and then that
and
way...
And it's like you're helping them plan their party.
Yes. So then that way, even if one of the pages ends up taking them to maybe a page that just filters these 3 holiday kits or just filters, I mean, later on I'll have more kits, so it'll be it'll be easier than this, but, or it'll take you, so for example, the only thing for me that I was saying you need a web developer is because if I go to Merry and Bright, can you see the mouse too?
Yeah.
If you go to Merry and Bright, or whatever, a party kit, this is under one listing. So even if I select, I'm having a small party, it's still going to take you to this whole thing. It's not going to take you to this. So that's where I need to think, like, maybe I just add in here, for now, instead of party kit, first it says number of guests. Then it says party kit. Or I could, and I can rename these to be, like you said, simple and then dash tableware only or something that's like that obvious. Yeah. Especially because it's not something it's not a hard concept like a party kit, but every website is different, so you don't know. And then
one thing.
Oh, go.
I think like another thing with Squarespace is you can have listings in your shop that are displayed based on category. So you could essentially do 3 different kits for Merry and Bright, like have one for the mini, one for the middle,
Right.
one for the large, but like tag them in their category as Merry and Bright. So then on the left side menu, like when they go to the shop page, they can click on Merry and Bright, but they'll see all 3 kits like separately. As just another option.
But I also feel, yes, I was thinking that, but then I also think of people who come, they're like, oh, I want this party kit. And then they're like, oh, but that's too big. Are they just going to give up and go somewhere else? Or are they going to try to look for the smaller one? So I almost feel like there needs to be a 4th one that it looks like this current one. So that is part of my week. But definitely it needs another page to guide people, because people, like, I understand my party kit sizes. I understand even what I sell, but how do I get that across to other people?
I think what I was thinking too is like you're providing a product because you're providing the items that they're using for their party, but you're also providing a service. Like your product is providing a service, so it's not your typical product. You know what I mean? It's like more complex of a product because it's like you're like the person's hosting the party, but you're helping them. Like you're helping them kind of like put it together and plan it. So it's like a service, but through a product. So I think that's why like a form or a guide would help too, because there is so much that it offers, and it's kind of complex because it's also like a service. Like they're planning an event through you and through the kits and pieces. So it's like they're not just buying like a thing. They're buying like a whole experience, thing that they're going to produce and experience. Yeah. So I think that's where it also is like a little different. And that's why I was like, that would be cool to have it. Then again, I feel like every website could improve their UI and UX. Like, I think it's just so important. And I guess I never realized it was like a whole separate term and like thing to focus on. Like when I was doing Botanobites, I never had it as like an extra category. I would view it as like working on my website, but I never viewed it as like the UI and like UX design. You know what I mean?
Right, because it's almost like I understand it this way, and I think everyone else does, but they're over here, and you need to bring them here through that website experience. So, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
There was one, my favorite, Overtone.
Yeah.
But when I click it, our Overtone hair color system, right? But there is, if you click on like, find my hair, whatever, it takes you through like a fake form, as if you're trying to find your hair type, as if I don't know if I have brown hair or blonde hair.
Right.
And it recommends, and who even knows if it's recommending? I mean, it probably just clicked like, oh, because I clicked brown hair, the rest doesn't even matter, and it shows up only the brown products anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, it could be way more complex than that on their end, obviously, but it could be as simple as that, and I would have still taken the quiz. I would have.
I mean, I think it shows that people just like the personal aspect that a form or a quiz offers. Like, it feels more custom and personal. Like, I could even do that for Botanobites. Like, I could have them fill out a quiz before purchasing where it's like, what do you need the most right now? Like, relaxation or energy? And, like, each answer could then bring them to a different product. And I feel like people would like that. Even if they didn't buy, like, it's still memorable, but it's also, like, more custom and personal and, like, interactive, which I think people just enjoy. Like, I did the Overtone fucking quiz, even though I knew what I wanted when I got to the website.
Like, I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to get the freaking red for brown hair. Why am I taking this quiz? But I'm like, oh, quiz.
What's it going to tell me?
What if it tells me get the platinum blonde one? Will I get it?
Will it totally change my mind? Probably.
I just like, I definitely think there's a value to that, like you're saying, and I'm glad that you're getting into it. Yeah, because it's something I never thought about before. Because I guess even growing up, I've always had my own personal website. And, well, growing up, since college, right? But it's your own personal website. So it's just like, this is what I do, A, B, C, D. It's not like I need you to understand the flow. Like, as if I'm going to put a documentary of myself or something.
Right. And it's not an experience.
Right.
Whereas our business websites are providing an experience even through the website, like before they even get the product. I just never thought of any of this. Like, this is all, like, I don't know. Like, you think of marketing and you think of whatever, finances and accounts, like all the things. But I guess it's hard to really think about how it's being delivered to the customer or the potential customer, because we're not the customer. Like, right. We're on the other end. We're the creator. So it's like, I feel like we probably miss some of that too, because we're not like on that side.
Right.
Even though we try to put ourselves in that position as often as we can so that we can like think like the customer. But I think that's where it probably does help to have like an outsider person like do that stuff, especially with UI, because they're coming at it from a new perspective. Like, even when he showed me, the guy that I work for now, like when he showed me their current thing, I was like asking questions. I was just like, wait, what does that mean? Why is that there? Right. And he was like, okay, like, I'm glad I'm like seeing that you're confused, because that tells me that like this website isn't being transparent enough or isn't being like easy to follow. Like, so it's like seeing it from a different perspective, like as a new person to the platform.
Right, because you don't have like, I mean, you know what the product is, but you don't follow it like the way he does or she does.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking too, it was like when I started doing the ads, Chris's dad was like, when you do the ad, it takes you to, it's supposed to take you to a landing page. Let's say if I have like a quiz like that, right? But let's say for now it doesn't, and it takes you to the product. And before it was title, pictures, description, then add to cart. But for someone who's clicking on an ad to buy a product, add to cart should be like right at the top. So then I was able to change it around and blah, blah, blah. But then I even think about that now when I go to, so part of me is like, okay, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, we should take them through experience. Yeah. But I was looking at Etsy, and I'm like, every Etsy listing has always been like that. Like, right on the right, it's what you want and add to the cart. And then the description and whatever, okay, the pictures are next to that, and even the pictures are on a carousel, and not, like, my thing is, you scroll down, I'm like, okay, I'm going to change this to a carousel, and then description, nobody even reads it unless they need to know all the details. So, and then, like, we were saying how, I was like, I need to add on each kit, like, a photo option of just, these are the kit sizes, like, what it means.
Yeah.
So, because people might not read the description. So,
right.
Just stuff like that where I'm like, Etsy already has it. So, for me, Etsy already has it coordinated. I'm just going to copy it.
Yeah, that means they probably have a good UI designer in the background.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are people who have teams of people doing that. So,
that's so true.
Definitely we'll need to get it. Because I've noticed it's like, people, I feel like, understand my product, but because I also don't have, I mean, I have like good photos, but they're not, I mean, some of these Pinterest people that sell party goods are just freaking like out of Better Homes and Gardens. Like, it's like, what are these photos? So because my pictures are good, but they're not like crazy out of this world, I need to like really make it easy for them to make a decision, you know?
Right.
Because if they rank the photo as a 7, but the user experience is a 10, maybe they'll be like, okay, I'll trust it.
Mm-hmm.
I've also, side note, been thinking of something that will also help what we're saying. Like, for example, the like, going next, like, oh, how many people, whatever. I just think I still need more kits, and I was thinking of just doing more tablescapes with different themes instead of like, I mean, I can still offer it in the options, but the photo shoots will be so much faster, and I'll also need like less time. Like, I can order
I agree.
a lot. I can do like 5 kits in a month. And it won't cost me as much, and I can do the photos all 5 in one day because I don't need to do the balloon setup. So even just to get the tableware up, you know? But that'll make it easier to be like, oh, well, if I click Bachelorette and then there's one kit, why was there a Bachelorette button? you know?
Right. Yeah, it'll be necessary though. Like whenever you do get to like having multiple kids, like.
Right, because then
But that'll be
holiday
fun. I think that's awesome because then it's like it's almost like the Kids in Pieces is the party planner. Like you just know what kind of party you're gonna have and how many people, and then you just go to your website, and then everything else is taken care of. It's pretty cool.
It's cute. And then like I've also thought like I used to think there were so many people doing tablescapes like that, and there are for like weddings or formal dinners with, you know, ceramic plates and stuff. But there really aren't that many people doing tablescapes with paper plates. You know? So I'm like, I could still make it.
I think it'd be good too because I think in that format you have room to add text. Like if you did want to add like a little line connecting to the cup where it's like 8 cups or like 8 plates, like it tells you what each kit has on that same image. So that way, like they see how awesome it's going to look in their home, but then they also like realistically see what they're getting in each kit without having to read a description. It's just like all on one photo. So it's like more visually appealing or whatever.
Yes. So basically just a lot of back end design work of getting people to understand it rather than putting up listings. But it's another component. Like technically this should have been done before the listing went up, right? But it's like it's all learning experience, man. Crazy.
And it can always be improved. So you're always like, wait, am I done?
Because I'm sure the UI before was not about personal branding. You know, it's probably about how cool something looks or how exclusive it looks. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, that's designed completely differently than this.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that was my spiel.
You know? Oh wait, are we done with UI? We have a question.
Yeah, that was basically it. Just that I think it should be an important piece of creating a business. Like it should be one of your top categories, like with marketing, with ads. Like it should be up there. I never really thought about it before, but now I'm like, yeah, it's pretty important.
So we have a question from Mango King. Welcome back, Mango King. How is the Twitch growing so far, or is this not really a focus for your businesses? It is a focus, but it wasn't the main focus. So I would say for me, after Christmas, or like on the 21st, when I'm closing my shop for the holidays, it'll be the focus. Because we haven't done a lot of back end work to grow it yet. Like we need some templates. We need even on media and stuff. So because it's going to continue to be a side thing, I feel like we need to prep a lot of stuff on the back end during this Christmas time so that when we go into 2021, it's not like just constant content creation, since we're also already creating content for the other stuff, for other parts of our lives. So
it's a side thing.
It'll still be a side thing, yeah.
But it was mostly just because we were already having meetings and we just wanted to build a community. So, I mean, obviously there's other things we can do to build it more by like putting more work into it, like the templates and other things. But for now, we don't have like the time we would like to have for it.
I mean, I want to have all the YouTube videos and stuff up, like when we hit January.
That's been on my list for like 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad at myself for not doing
You've
it yet.
been moving.
But I'm telling myself once I like sit down and do it, it's gonna be amazing. So
yeah. So like when we go into 2021, it'll be more like, oh, we have a YouTube channel. You know, we'll get the Facebook group going a little bit more where there's like content coming out and it's not just like so much work every week because we don't have the time to spend on it every week.
And if you know people that are looking to just have like advice on certain things they're working on, let us know or let them know about our channel. Just because that's the only way to build a community is just like word of mouth and whatever we can do on our end to get it out there more.
Yeah. He says, don't burn yourself out, and you have one fan so far, me. At the very least, link your socials in your description. You know, I always want to do that, and then I forget to do it. Mainly because, how do I get to my profile again? I feel like I tried it last time, and I was like, ah, snap.
Which is kind of weird.
What's weird?
Twitch.
Twitch is an interesting thing. You know, I noticed, okay, so one of my Nashvilleian humans that live here, she had an album release concert last night. It was streamed live. I don't know if the concert was streamed live or if she had it pre-recorded at a venue with like a full band, and then she was just live, like talking about it, and then it would cut to the performance kind of thing, like almost as if you're watching TV. But anyway, she did it through YouTube, and but she had been posting about it. Gosh, so much. I mean, she had been working her way towards this. I mean, she had like a full production, like a full band, full lights, whatever. So I'm sure more people like knew about it and whatnot. But I just thought it was interesting that she did it on YouTube Live and had.
I've seen a lot of people do that. Like they'll have their weddings like through YouTube Live. Like since it's the pandemic and people can't make it, they'll put it through YouTube Live, just to like
keep it there.
Give it to their family.
Huh. I appreciate you. How do we roles manager? No. Activity? Anyway. So yeah, that was interesting that she did that. And she had like 30 to 40 viewers.
That's pretty good.
I thought that was pretty good, but at the same time, not because of her, but I feel like the live streaming part, I just don't know. That's why I'm like, if we focus on the community part of it, I mean, I'm like, I love doing this, you know? But I feel like in terms of growing, I mean, Twitch has a ton of people online. But if people don't even come out to her concert, and she has like 4,500 followers on Instagram, and she's been posting that this thing is on YouTube Live, and all they have to do is click on the link, and only 30 people clicked on the link. Is there hope for anyone?
I think that just means there isn't as much hope for the live aspect, but I still think, like, content-wise or conversation-wise, like, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
It's just so crazy to me that there's always, like, tens of thousands of people on Twitch watching other people.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I like Twitch, is because people come here with the intention of watching something live. So
True.
Maybe there's less entrepreneurship people, but at least they're coming here with the mentality of like, oh, even if I'm just leaving it on in the background.
But I wish we could see more on the demographics of the people that are watching like that, because a lot of people we know like got jobs and shit. Like they can't just be on.
I know,
Twitch
but maybe
live.
we're doing it at a bad time too. That could be another thing.
Yeah. I just feel like they're probably younger, like my sister's age.
Oh snap! If anyone said something. Oh, most people on Twitch are young. Sorry, I had closed out of it, so it didn't show if you wrote anything. So most people on Twitch are young, yes, from Mango King. Right? But then it's like, but then I also think young people are doing this now. We're on the older side of starting a business, I think. Because it wasn't really a thing. Like, if you told someone in college that you were starting a business, they'd be like, okay. Good luck with that. It was like there's no support. Like nobody would be like, "Oh, that's so cool, man. Let me work with you."
I mean, now they do. I think now even like in college, like that is cool or like something that people want to do.
Right, that's what I mean. Like now, yes, they're younger, but those are the people that are also starting things. I don't know. I feel like I have like this revamping in my mind, even though part of me is also like, I really want to do Instacart this week.
Like, you need to make money.
I need to
make respect that.
Quick money and not sell drugs. So I guess Instacart works. But it's funny, Sasha showed me this this guy, which first of all, who is this dude that you sent to me? Because there was a lot going on in that video beyond what he was talking about. What? The horoscope. This guy was telling the Pisces horoscope. Pisces, right? Of December. And like basically,
dude, he is so funny. I showed Dakota's like Sagittarius, so I showed him his, and he was cracking up.
Okay, wait, what's his handle? I'm gonna put the handle here.
It's Chris Crocini, like Crocini, I think. He's Portuguese, or lives in Portugal. I'm assuming he's Portuguese. But he just does like random like tarot card readings for zodiac signs and astrology based things. So it was like the December horoscope for all the different zodiac signs. So I watched mine, but then of course, because I'm a Cancer, I also watched my closest people. So I watched Cats, which is Pisces, and then I watched Sagittarius. So I sent it to my other friend too, that's a Sag. But the guy says it. He's also like an ASL interpreter, so he does sign language while he says the horoscopes. And he just has like this like flair to him. He makes me feel like he's from Miami. I don't think that he is, but he definitely like has that same kind of like vibe. But he just has like so much flavor in everything he says, and I don't know, he's just hilarious. But he was just like, bitch, you don't need that. Like, but he'll like pull up a card and show you like what your horoscope is, or what the tarot
cards say. But the whole thing is signed also while he's doing it.
And he's really good at it though.
He's really good at it. But it's just there's so much going on. He's signing it. These dude's in like a red robe with a Christmas hat, but then has like freaking crystals. Would like that. It's like as if you and I had a child. That is the man that would come out. Like, I had like crystals here with his little like meditation sound healing bowl, but then a Santa hat, his like little satin robe thing that he's wearing, with Christmas socks hanging in the back, but then brings out tarot cards. I'm like, there is so much going on, and I haven't even heard this man talk yet. Anyway, the point of it was he was going on about for the Pisces in December that it was like, be patient, the seeds you've planted are growing, and I was like, I really needed this.
Given our breakdowns last week, I was like, Kat needs to watch this. It was all for something.
Nothing's happening. I'm trying so hard. So, it gave me a little bit of a push. And it made me feel better that our marketing friend did a lot of work this weekend to help.
It's going to pay off. It's okay.
Yes. So, I just feel like for those other people, I feel like maybe the path was so clear for them, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe I should just ask some of them, what'd you do? Like, if you guys haven't seen the home edit on, I'm gonna go into the home edit a second. Okay. Mango King. Just curious, is your niche demographic towards women? Because it's mostly gamers, men on here for the Twitch population, but of course there are exceptions. Just chatting is still a recent category because it used to be exclusively for watching gamers. You know, I do think about that. I mean, I don't think we're targeting specifically men or women, but should we be targeting men if we're going to keep doing it on here? Or do men just watch more YouTube videos in general than women? Like, even YouTube, sorry. Like, do men just, like... Because, my friend's boyfriend, like, he will spiral down YouTube just for hours. Like, rabbit hole of YouTube. And, I rabbit hole sometimes, but not nearly as much as some of the guys I know.
No, I feel like guys rabbit hole the fuck out of YouTube. Like... I've known a lot of guys that just do that. Like, they'll go on one video. Dakota does that all the time. Personally, I'm like, I go on my own rabbit holes, but they're, like, more for, like, educational purposes, not just, like, entertainment. But he'll, like, literally, like, the way YouTube works is it just shows you a video, and then it's like, boom, you have a whole list of other ones that are related, so you can just click on any of them. Like, they make it, I think... user-friendly in that sense, where it like allows them to just constantly continue their rabbit hole successfully.
Right, so then it's like maybe we should be targeting dudes. But for me, I guess I feel like what we're saying isn't really geared towards men or women in particular, but our occupations, our businesses might appeal more to women than men. And in that aspect, maybe we should gear it towards men more in how we deliver it. That was great, Mango King. So one advice I would give is to engage with the Just Chatting community. Just look up channels and engage with chat and see what they do. You can learn from them. Yes, I've seen a few channels, and like that's part of I need to get onto Twitch, because I feel like if in our winter break we set it up, like I start following channels that I like, it'll be easier for me to go throughout the year and just interact with them, or like know when they come on. Like I haven't had time to even like research some of the fun channels. So if you have any fun channels you like to watch that you think we would care about, please feel free to share them. It'll help us a lot.
Yeah, I feel like the more you use a platform, the more you learn about it. And I feel like because we don't use Twitch either, then we're not too familiar with how it works, or like how to build certain things, because we're like new to the platform completely. But we also like, I don't know, I don't have like just time to like put on a live video. Like I'd rather play like music, or like, you know what I mean? Do something else while I'm working on whatever I'm working on.
But I feel like other people do some similar things. Not like watching like a gamer video.
Yeah. I would, if I was just working and I had some like 2 other people doing this type of meeting, I think I would totally turn that on. Like, and just ask a question here and there, but have it in the background. Like, I think that'd be cool. Right, and that's kind of what we envisioned.
But he's saying we need to interact with other channels to see how they do it. And then that's also part of the networking.
Right. Yeah.
He says, what are your interests? I have environmental science majors, a sociology professor, and a punk rocker. We can appeal to anyone, because the purpose of it is people who want to start their own side hustles or are doing their own side hustles. So, like, I don't know if I'm going to be like, yeah, this is how you put together a new invention that you created, but I'd be happy to help you out to try to find sites where you can get started, or like help you look up things if you had a question. So I feel like, or like maybe they have ideas too that'll help us get out of whatever we're in. But so that's why I'm like, it's not so much what their interests are in, but more that they want to pursue something or are pursuing something. Does that make sense?
It'll happen in time. Let's go to the next topic.
Okay, so next topic we have, we found one. The next topic we have is relationships in entrepreneurship.
I think I'm gonna like this topic.
So there are many types of relationships you can have, obviously. But we're gonna start with like boyfriend, girlfriend, they friend, whatever friend you want to call,
Significant other.
significant others in entrepreneurship. Just because if you've ever tried to handle your own side hustle or whatever, and or even if you have a passion and you've ever gotten stuck on your passion, whether you started, archery or swing dancing or whatever, and you're just like going every week, and then you start neglecting your significant other, how do you handle that? And should you be in a relationship is also another thing, while you're trying to start a side hustle.
And I've heard this from other entrepreneurs where they're just like, being a business owner is so hard, but also being in a relationship while you're doing it is hard. So I think it is something that is worth mentioning, just because it's something that you're putting a lot of energy and effort and time into, and also like finding balance with. So it's like, they're both like jobs.
It's almost weird because if you didn't already view your relationship as a part-time job, you should. Especially if you're doing this. Like if you're doing your own side hustle. And it's also, I've also thought, I mean, when we both first started, I wasn't in a relationship like in 2016 or whatever, but I almost like didn't want to be too, because I was like, I don't have time. I mean, or it was also like I would always have like craft stuff everywhere in my room, like on my bed, and like we were living together, but I mean our apartment was so tiny, so I would be like, I would have to lay out projects on my bed, and I'm like
most girls have like lingerie, and you're just like, no, my bed's full of crafts, you can't stay here.
Yeah, and it's like always full of glitter. Like what dude is gonna come over and be like, yo, your bed is full of glitter? So I was almost like, but I love doing the craft, so I was just like, I don't care, this is all over my bed. But I'm also like, I'm not gonna freaking clean this up just to go on a date today. But I was just thinking about the side hustle so much that I didn't even care either. So, but then I was like, okay, whatever. People work their ways into your lives, and I've also been really bad in the past, because this current human has not been the previous couple of humans that I've been working on my side hustle and dated. Sorry, that was.
And when she says humans, she means significant others.
Sorry, I call them humans. So I've dated 2 other people while doing my side hustle before this one, and I will say, I mean, sometimes I've like let the whole side hustle take over, and then I didn't even notice that other person was not on the same page as me. Because you need someone that can run with you, not someone who supports you. Okay, oh, I'm so happy she has her botana by its side. Like, that's like an acquaintance, okay? Someone that needs to run with you and sees you're freaking, there's papers all over the bed, and they help you clean up the papers off the bed. So, and they stack it up for you nicely in color order, and you don't have to ask. Okay, that's ideal. No one's ever done that for me.
That's just a request.
It's just like a dream. Yeah. But at least someone who recognizes what you're going through and complements it by adapting around it, or really pushes you up by doing it with you. Either way or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like I've had support in different ways at different times. And I think it does take a lot of like consideration, but also conversation, because the person you're with may not be in the same boat as you. They might not be an entrepreneur, so they might not understand what you're going through, what you're doing. They might not have that same sort of like thing that entrepreneurs tend to have. But they still might support you and want to see you successful and like help you in other ways to reach that, because they know you care about what you're doing. But they might not have the time, or they might not have like the, I guess, resources, whatever variable it is that would help them support you more. Mm-hmm. And that's when it's up to you to understand them as well. And like, I think that's kind of something that I've encountered a lot in my relationships, is where like I expect them to help me with everything. Like, you're part of my team. And
they didn't know that when they signed up.
Yeah. But I guess like that has happened, and maybe the person was like, okay, I'll help them, but they were bad at it. Like, that has happened. I'm sure Kat's experienced that, where like they're willing, but they may not be the best person for it.
Or
so then you kind of have to regroup.
Or that's the only way they know how to help, but you're much more useful not doing that.
Yeah, because sometimes it's more work to constantly be checking someone or like telling them how to do it the right way. Not that like we're control freaks or anything, but just literally like sometimes certain things just don't make sense to another person. Like, especially you that created whatever it is, like it makes sense to you in a different way than it would to someone else. So either you have to be good at communicating that, or the other person has to be good at understanding it. But if that's not there, then like it's ideal for your partner to find a different way to support you that is like better for both of you, because otherwise it might create a clash or an argument or whatever. So I think like you just have to navigate the relationship and you as an entrepreneur in that box, because you're also still wanting to maintain romantic with them and like still keep business out of the relationship and like be able to have conversations that like involve other things and like other growths and like other interests or hobbies or activities. So sometimes it's a lot because you also want them to help you and almost like be your partner in the business, but they may not be able to, and maybe that's a good thing. Like maybe it's good to also recognize what works best in the partnership and in the relationship.
Right. And I think it's also healthy to realize the non-working side, like the healthy side of how they help you in the side hustle, main hustle, but also on the side of maybe you, like I have a problem with stopping working. Like I don't stop, right? So even though I try to stop, but it's almost more helpful if he just tells me Thursday we're hanging out, we're gonna go out to eat or something, so that it's like, well, I'm not gonna say no, you know what I mean? Like,
and you didn't have to think about it.
And
either.
I didn't have to think about it, exactly. But he's still covering the other side of our life rather than just because he could also just be like, oh, let me help you finish, and then it's like we're hanging out, but all we're doing is working, and then we actually never go out. So, and I'm not gonna plan going out because I'm already in work mode and you're in work mode too. So.
Right.
And the other thing that we were saying was, this is something new that I've been trying out that's been working for me, is that we'll set up meeting times, and as lame as that sounds, it's
like great.
Setting a meeting with your own significant other, it's made it better because it's like, from this time to this time, you're helping me with this, and we're in work mode. But then we stop, and then we don't have to talk about work afterwards. Especially, like, I'm working at home. It's so easy. Like, he'll be like, oh, how was your day? And a normal person that could be like, oh, work was good, or work was bad, whatever. Oh, but then afterwards I went to this happy hour, and this was awesome. I'm at home all day, so my whole day is work mixed with lunch and whatever Netflix episode I watched on the break, and, you know. So... or a little squirrel I saw outside on the tree that was my coworker for the day. It's just all intermingled. You're on mute.
I think that's a good point, and like I think it's healthy to have those boundaries where you schedule meetings to talk about business stuff or whatever, because it is easy for everything to bleed together, and then you drain the relationship, because the relationship should be your source of like happiness and like feeling free and like not stressful. Ideally. But I've noticed for me and like my person is whenever they're stressed, like they're working a lot or they're dealing with a lot of crap at work or they're putting in extra hours or like, you know, their life is not as fruitful for themselves as it should be. And then I'm doing the same thing. That is a bad combination. Because then we're both not only stressed and like limited in the time we have to spend together, but we're also then like venting to each other about it. Like, today at work this happened, or this week was this, and then it feeds my thing, and then I'm like, oh, and then this and this. So you end up spending time like bitching,
Yeah.
which isn't helpful. It's good to vent, and I guess that's where, especially as a female, I'm just like, I need to vent. I need to say this. But I do see how it's good also to learn to compartmentalize and just find ways around talking about everything, because you do still have to find ways to connect with your partner outside of work and leave work separately. And I think it's a learning process too. And like, especially with that person, like, I mean, you've had different humans whenever you've been working on not just the kits and pieces, but also like when you would plan your parties and like do crafts or whatever it is. And I feel like you've had different responses or ways that they've supported you throughout. So you can tell it's per person, like it's very individualistic based on the person. So I don't know, but I think for me, the biggest like emotional thing I have is where I expect the person to be like on board with every part of it, or like help me.
Except you have 47 parts.
Right. And I think too, it does take a certain type of personality type to like handle, I guess, what a small business requires, or like all the different aspects of it. So if you happen to just not be with someone that has all that stuff, they might be good at other things, or maybe that partner helps you shut off your work brain so you can just relax and have a good time. Like that's super important. Like if you both are just workaholics, I feel like that also isn't great. So I think sometimes I'm like glad that my partner is not that involved in what I do, and that we have like separate leadership roles in our own realms, because then we can kind of just keep it over there instead of like in our own conversations all the time.
Right.
Because that would just be draining in a different way. So it's like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely. First, I feel like it's recognizing like the type of person you need, which might come through trial and error, as it is with running a business.
Yeah.
I mean, because I definitely thought in the past, I was like, I mean, because growing up, nobody was crafting. I definitely thought, I was like, oh, well, you know, a dude that's going to understand crafting, that's just like,
yeah,
I'm not going to find that. So I'll take someone who will help me execute. And I say I'll take someone. I mean, this is just one of the personality traits. It's not like, oh, you will help me with this. I'm gonna date you.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I'll be like, oh, it's fine. This person doesn't really understand what I'm doing, but I need your help on this day. Can you come? And then they're there and they're helping. But that's not the person I need. I mean, some people need that, you know, and it's like maybe that's the best way to execute their business. Like maybe they just make small little products that they don't need heavy lifting. I mean, I was making backdrops and stuff before. Like, I need someone to help me.
Yeah.
So, and in that way, maybe it's like, maybe that person, let's say I was like obsessed with this person that I was dating, maybe that means I just need to outsource the person who lifts the backdrops. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, and eventually that's the goal, and we're not freaking like a home team here. But anyway,
yeah.
Now that I've switched, or now that I'm more involved in my own business, I realize that like the media and advertising is the stuff I'm weakest on, you know? And I'd rather have someone that like help me with that. And it so happened that I also like noticed that I was like, he's probably better at this if he's gonna help me than he is at gluing paper flowers together.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's important, is just seeing what they're good at and what they enjoy doing, because then they'll also enjoy it. They're not only going to view it as like, oh, I'm helping her, which makes me feel good. That's not enough for guys. I think they also have to like
feel
kind of like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Same with girls. I mean, I guess people in general, but yeah, I think if I could name like my top 3 things that I think should be under like support from a partner while you're an entrepreneur, I think it would be encouragement, like constant encouragement, because as an entrepreneur you go through those like really doubtful waves, and I think it is nice to like have someone close to you that you trust that is like, yeah, I believe in you, keep going, you know what I mean?
Even if they don't.
Even if they don't.
Even if like that's a crap idea.
Which, I don't know, I mean, it depends on the entrepreneur, but I feel like as an entrepreneur, you're open to constructive criticism. Like, I would actually prefer my partner to be like, you could have done that better. And and like tell me how or what their viewpoint was, and I'll see if I see it, and then like go from there. Because I think as an entrepreneur, you're open to like tweaking things and like the trial and error thing. Like maybe something might work better, and if he gives that input and you try it out and it works, you're like, oh, thank you. So I think it's just, I guess, giving feedback and like encouragement and stuff like that helps a lot. And then, I mean, I think also like if there's events or stuff that like, I don't know, whenever I would do Botana Bites events, it would make me so anxious because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be there for X amount of hours selling the whole day. I'm not comfortable with selling, da 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 da. And at the time I noticed my partner was good at selling. So I was like, okay, that's something he's good at, he enjoys. So I wanted him to be on board with that. So I think that made a difference for me because it was something that was kind of stressful or like anxious. So it like relieved it a little bit because I was also like with someone that I could lean on or that I felt comfortable with. So I think in those moments, like whatever it is for your business where it's like crunch time or it's like there's a deadline or you're just like this is so frustrating or whatever,
something that requires more day of operations as opposed to like, even like for us we had the cyber sale, which wasn't a physical place, but it was a lot of maintenance that weekend of checking on things,
right? Or just something that requires more strength from you as an entrepreneur because you already have so much strength for all the other things. And then probably the third thing would be like showing a genuine interest, like even if they're not fully involved, but just like asking you like, how are sales going? How's the development going? How's this aspect? Like asking specifics about what you're doing, I think makes a big difference too, because it shows that like, even if they can't be involved or they're not there for like all the key moments or things you might want them to be there for, it's still on their radar. And I think because entrepreneurs feel alone so often because we do so much by ourselves, it's just like critical because then you kind of feel like they're at least a team member. Like they're at least like checking up on you and like,
well, I think it's also important.
My partner does not have all these three things, but I'm just saying that I think that would be an ideal like way to have a relationship as an entrepreneur is like those three. I don't know if you agree or disagree. I don't know if you have like a top three.
I think to add to those three, I mean like to the first one, like with encouragement, yeah, definitely to have the constructive criticism side, and also on the flip side, if you end up giving up or deciding to move on from it, sell it, whatever, that they're there to let you know it's okay. Like you can just, instead of being like, wow, why did you give up on it or something, you know? And then on the last one that you said where they're involved, I think it also, or interested, they're also your biggest ambassador. You know, they should be able to go to their friends and say in a sentence what their girlfriend or boyfriend or partner sells. And because when they ask specific questions like that or show that they're interested, like if Chris isn't able to go to his friend and tell, if his friend is like, oh, does she have any holiday kits? And he just goes, yeah. No. Like, yeah, she has like 3. You can check it out on her website. There's some cool ones. Like, they should be able to talk about it like that, you know? Because also, that's a check for you, too. It's like, if they can't even talk about it and they see you every day doing it, how is someone you don't know going to go for it? So, it's also like a self, like, oh, okay, then I am doing something that he wouldn't sit there and craft with me on the daily. I mean, even though he's strung his fair share of banners. But
I think we all have, as long as we know you.
If you haven't put together a prop, a banner, or something with balloons,
you're not Kat's friend.
You're not my friend. If you haven't shown up 2 hours early to a party to help me set it up, you're not my friend. But I've also dated people who, I've had to set up the whole party by myself. They'll show up late, and then they'll then be like, oh, we're carving pumpkins. Like, that's not the person I'm supposed to be with, you know? You're going to make fun of me for carving pumpkins? Like,
I know.
All my friends are like, what? Yeah, of course we're carving pumpkins.
They're like, who invited him?
Yeah, that's not even a weird activity. Like, I guess it would be weird if it was, like, March, but it was definitely a fall party.
Right. It's definitely a theme. I mean, I think this applies, too, to, like, anyone that has, like, a partnership with someone that has different career paths, or they're involved in different work, or if even as a freelancer, because I feel like as a freelancer, you're mostly doing creative projects and you might not necessarily be with someone that's creative or like understands the programs you're using or whatever. So then it's like, how would you have a conversation with them to where they understand? But I think that's where it's critical that they at least are like, show me what you've been working on, or like, how was it today? Or, you know, specific questions that like pertain to what you're doing.
No!
Computer. So it's like.
Okay, back. No, you're gone again. Sasha!
Am I back?
You were making your Muffy face. That was kind of great.
I know. I'm like, what happened? Muffy?
I think she looks... Is that the chick's name? From Arthur? I mean, tell me she doesn't look like that girl.
Yeah, it is the name.
I'm gonna... Arthur... Muffy.
Sorry.
Muffy Crosswire. Does that look like Sasha?
Did you share it?
I didn't share my screen. I'm so stupid. This is great, right here. This is like her frozen face.
Oh dear.
This makes me so happy. Whenever she nose flares, right there. Nose flare. Anyway. So, I just want to touch really quick, and then we can go to the chat, touch on this really quick, about, just basically, that's the relationship, right? And balance and blah, blah, blah. And then it's also okay to not have a relationship. And I think it's like, people are always like, oh, I'm too busy to be in a relationship. And I used to think that was like crap, and like people were just saying that because they didn't want to be in a relationship. I mean, that could be for some people, but definitely the beginning stages of it. I mean, I'm lucky Chris was like okay with it, because I was working so much just to even get it going. I mean, now we're at a better flow, but like that initial 3 or 4 months was horrible. It was like, all I could do was think about it, and like you had deadlines. You're like, I need to order it by this date, or if not, I'm not gonna have any Christmas kits. And I'm sorry, we can't go on a date night tonight because of this. Like, and he could very easily have been like, well, I want to date someone that can actually hang out with me. So it is totally okay to like not be in a relationship, set it all up, and then when you get into a groove, then, you know, try it or whatever.
It's a lot of work to try to do both. Like, it's a lot. It's stressful. Like, even if you don't notice it because you're like enjoying the relationship, it's still probably causing stress in the relationship, because it's just a hard thing to balance, because you're like getting to know the person. I mean, I think it helped that you knew Chris, so it was like you didn't have to go through that phase. But I think when you're like just getting to know someone, I mean, from scratch, like,
and
I don't know.
From scratch, you're not letting loose about all the details. Like, they're not gonna know you're freaking crazy with 12,000 Upwork projects and 15 other side projects and grad school. Like, you're just gonna be like, hey, look at me, I'm normal.
No, you have to like hide all that, because they just want to like have fun and like be lighthearted, and it's just like, but I'm thinking of 100 things right now. But,
I remember I went on a date once when I was living with you. I don't know if you remember Swing Boy. We don't even name them. This was back during our dating phase. Wait, I lost Sasha. Come back. Okay.
No, you're good.
And I was like, he just like came over one day, and then I was like, I feel like I had like 3 or 4 drinks or something. I was like, mid like starting this side hustle thing, and I was like, you want to see my banners? And it's like midnight. Like, take up the banners. So sexy. Look at me. Look at all my banners. It's fall, y'all. I was like, yo, that was a crazy time. That was a crazy time in my life. Damn it,
my connection keeps sucking.
You're back now. But the last thing I wanted to say, sorry, I didn't transition to it, was friendships in it. And we're not going to go into this too much, just because this is the whole purpose of our Twitch. was just that there are friends that may not be into the same things you are, and that's fine. And there are some friends that are super into the same things you are, also fine, right? AKA Sasha. But you should at least have friends that, even if they're not into it, are supportive. And not supportive in a way where it's like, oh yeah, Sasha, my friend that does the muffin thing. Like, that friend should not be saying it like that. You know, your friend that supports you should be like, oh yeah, oh, one of my friends, she has this awesome muffin, like it's like a functional mini muffin thing. Like, they should still be able to talk about it.
A business.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
she has a business, and like you can go. I know you can go check it out on her website, and it's called Botana Bites. Not, oh, I think it's called something. That's a bad friend. And there are such a thing. I feel like I just want to introduce that because entrepreneurship is still a newer concept. I feel like it's not like some of your friends are like, oh, you're not becoming a doctor or a lawyer, and you really need to not stay away from them. I'm not saying like, oh, stop being their friend, but you need to choose the time that you spend with your friends and which friends, because you're going to be in a bubble of like, this is what I'm doing, and it's already going to be hard to keep going. And just like if you don't have a significant other, or even if you do, your friends should help you out in the same way. And I feel like for the most part I've been really lucky, but I've also noticed myself drifting from some people just because like what they were talking about was just so different from what I'm talking about that I'm almost spending way too much energy. Not that it's like your friends aren't worth spending your energy, but this point in my life, I'm trying to make this happen, and it's not rude. I mean, it's rude if you blow them off, but it's not rude if you try to focus on your thing. And if they make you feel bad about it, then they just don't understand. And
yeah,
we ain't got time for that.
I mean, I think it's hard to understand entrepreneurship if you're not involved in it. And I think most people just have a job. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur, you're working nonstop towards something that you believe in. So it's like, it's connected to like your passion and like something deeper than just a job, just a paycheck. And I think that's where it's also like, it feels a little like more offensive if they don't support you or they don't know how to say it in words or whatever, because it's like, it's your creation. It's like as if you made a baby and they were just like, oh yeah, that thing over there.
That ugly baby.
No, like a thing. It didn't even have like a name or a male or female. No, just that thing over there. And I think that's where it's like more crucial, I guess, to show support as a friend and like give it more attention or like care, because it's a lot. But it does take a lot of like consideration and other elements that a friend should have, and not all friends do. And that's when you know you just gotta cut it.
Right. Or at least, you know, the dosage of it. Like, I'm not saying go stop being friends with people who don't do entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no, there's friends I have that I have other common interests with, so we'll just talk about that when I talk to them. And like, I'll never even talk about the entrepreneur stuff or never talk about Botana Bites.
But naturally,
like,
you're going to talk to them less because you're doing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or you're just going to notice that if you're really serious about it and then you spend hours hanging out doing something else that, I mean, yes, you are interested in, but if you don't monitor it, then you could just spend 8 hours, for example, playing video games, right? Not hating on video games. Video games are fine, right? But you just missed out a whole day of doing something, unless it was like your day off or something. But like, you just really have to monitor, because they're not going to understand it. Like, especially I'm talking about the friends that don't understand, and they care about you, but they don't understand what you're doing. Like, they're not going to understand the importance of you going back to that. Or they should at least accept, like, if you're like, man, I need to go because I need to send out an order. They should be like, okay, man, that's cool. Not like, what? No, stay and party or hang out or one more game. Because, yes, you're going to want to stay for one more game because you feel bad. Or at least I always feel bad for, like, those things. Where I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll stay for another thing. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't send this out. Or no, I didn't post it yet. I know. And it's like this endless thing. It's horrible.
Yeah, so, and then it like really hurts you.
Right. It hurts you more than it hurts them. They're just like chilling for another game. Don't care. So, and they're not trying to be mean. So I'm not saying like cut them off. Hello. But I've noticed a shift. Also, you know. But it's also like for me, like when I talk to Sasha, there's also this friend. Like the one that's super into it, where I go to for inspiration. I'm not expecting all my friends to freaking give me tons of inspiration,
Right.
but I mean, and they do sometimes, but I'm also not going to be expecting that from. That's like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I guess
I think, I mean, as an entrepreneur, it takes a lot of understanding of our friends and of our relationship partners, because you might want them to be good at this, or, you know, involve themselves in a certain way, and they just can't. And you have to also, like, as ourselves, understand that too, and just be like, okay, then this is this instead of this.
Right. Just accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess for me, like, because of entrepreneurship, I felt like I've grown so much quicker. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm more mature or whatever, but I've had, because you're constantly learning things, right? You're learning things and you're figuring things out on your own. And even if you hire people to start your business, you're still interacting with people in such an in-depth way
Yeah.
that you're almost moving at a different pace. And like, I mean, and who knows if I'm gonna go back and get a corporate job and blah blah blah. So I'm not ragging on corporate jobs, but it's just a different pace. Because you show up to work, and even if you're a manager, you show up to work and the things are laid out for you, and you're like, I do X, Y, Z today, and I get to go home. And people love that. Some people love that, but once you're an entrepreneur, you're so like fast paced on everything that the slower paced people will literally, you'll be bored.
And I feel like it applies to like people that are also like lawyers, or just like have a profession where they are providing a service, and so therefore like their service is their business, but also like them as a person is the business. And I feel like they have a similar way of seeing things, where it's like you have to think of all these things and all these different components, and like you have to be quick, and like not only is the work you're doing something that has to be quick, but it's also like in how everything's executed or organized or managed. Like there's just so many things that you have to organize and execute on, that you do need like a certain type of brain to almost like handle it. And I don't know if it's necessarily like a creative brain. I don't think it is. I think it's like another thing.
It's an entrepreneurial spirit kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I do appreciate my other friends that are doing different things in life, because it also keeps me in the loop, you know, since I'm in my own bubble of this. But yeah, I've definitely had to shift my way of viewing things, and it's been a little easier now because I moved to Nashville in the middle of COVID, so I don't have many Nashville friends. So I have less distractions, so that I can, when I do talk to my friends, it's like, you know, more timed out. But I don't know. I thought friends was worth bringing up because most people will have friends. Not everyone is in a relationship.
True.
So
yeah.
Most people, I'm like, I don't know. Some people might not have friends, and you won't. But I just don't like to burn bridges, because especially in this world, you never know if you're gonna talk to a friend later on for your business, and you can work on something together. That's not the same as using someone. It's just the potential partnership. You should never burn bridges. But
well, I feel like most of my close friends, like, we ebb and flow. Like, there's times where we're closer and times that we're not. And like, I think what matters the most though is that like, even if it's a year apart or whatever it is, like, you both still have that familiarity with each other, that comfort, that level of trust, and that like maybe that one or two common interest thing that kind of like came up. Or at least for me, I've noticed most of my friends I'm friends with because we have common interests. Like, that's usually what binds us. Because otherwise I'm just like, why else are we hanging out? Like, what am I learning from this?
Right.
But I think there have been times where like I've been closer to some people over other times just because of those common interests. So
right. Yeah, I mean, that's life. But I'm going to look at the chat now, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got.
Sorry that I'm not on it.
Sorry, Mango King, we were trying to get the flow going. So I'm going back and reading your stuff now. So I clicked Positive Tiffany, so I'm gonna check that out later. I didn't come here to be personally attacked. I've tried and make. Oh, I try and make my significant other feel important and valued in the time that I'm able to spend with her. Humans! It would be nice if she cared about my business, but I don't expect her to. Yeah, and that's like, we don't expect them to.
But it would be awesome.
And I guess it also depends, because I mean, I've known some people that have like 15,000 passions, but it's not like they're going to run a business from it, you know? And like, I mean, but still, like every Monday, my human, this is his computer that I use. He sets it up for me. And like in the beginning, yeah, I'd be like, hey, we need to set this up, we gotta go. But every Monday he just like opens it up and then he helped me make the overlays, and this is like our 15th side project. Like, that man is crazy.
Well, but you guys help each other with your projects, and I think it helps that Chris is a freelancer and like has his own way
yes,
of...
he's a separate type of human. He's our type of human where he's entrepreneurial.
Yes. Yeah.
But for me, I almost think I need that. Like, I've never dated someone that's also a freelancer, entrepreneurial person, and he has been doing it for like 6 years, so he's like ready, he's good to go. So he can handle side projects really well, and he handles it better than me. So I need someone like that though, because I've never been around that. So
I think ultimately all people that are entrepreneurs kind of do. Like, I think that's the sweet spot, is like when both understand.
Sorry, Mango King said something great, and I wish I had read it.
What?
There should be an entrepreneur dating app. Mango King, I promise, if we start that, you're gonna be a part of that. We're pulling it.
That's a good idea. There probably is. I feel like there is.
If there could be Christian Mingle, there could be... Oh, we should come up with a really punny name. I can't think of one right now. Entrepreneursonly.com. That'd be so funny. Don't want to pull a Steve Jobs and neglect your loved ones. It's a bad habit of many successful business-oriented people. I agree.
Yeah.
And it's like, I never appreciated, like, you know, when people are on the Oscars or whatever, and they're like, I'd like to thank my wife or my husband or whatever. And I'm just like, of course you're going to thank your wife or husband. But I'm like, no, bro. That's like a full-time job supporting you.
And I feel like there's been times where I've been so wrapped up in business that I felt like I couldn't love. Like, I just didn't have the same emotional, like, connectedness to my emotions that I needed in order to, like, actually love someone, because I was just, like, so focused on, like, myself or just, like, what I was working on. And I feel like it takes a certain person to, like, bring you out of that, number one. And number two, it's good to learn how to, like, you know, separate everything. That way that doesn't happen. Because it is, I mean, I could see how it could easily kill, like, a relationship.
Yeah,
easily.
I mean, even now when we have our date nights, let's say the date night is at 8 p.m. I have to stop. Like, I told you this before, where I was like, I have to stop at, like, 6. I could just stop at 7:45 and change and we can go to dinner. But I need to stop, like, at 6. I need to, like, take a shower, get dressed, just because it's like, otherwise, if we go straight into dinner, I'm just going to talk about what I've been working on. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yes, and I learned that from you, because I was doing the same thing where, like, I would work up until Dakota got home, but I would literally, like, sign off whenever he got home. So then right when I'd see him, I would just start venting about, like, what happened during the day and stuff, instead of giving myself even a half an hour to an hour to, like, calm myself down or do something for me. Like, I spent the whole day just working, and now my partner's home, so now I'm just going to, like, be with them. And it's like, what about Sasha? So I think that's where that, like, time frame before you see them is so key, because it not only lets you shut yourself off or, like, stop thinking about it, but it also allows you to, like, nurture yourself by doing something for you.
Right. Like, I know, I'm, like, in my shower, like, okay, hanging out. If you don't know me, I get all my thoughts in the shower. Like, all my creative thoughts are in there, or I'll, like, talk to myself just so I don't vent, like, just so I'm not a horrible person to other humans. I just, like, if I have horrible thoughts, I'll just say it in the shower.
There's so many times recently that I've talked to you and you're like, so then I was thinking in the shower and I forgot that you do that.
that's one of
It's come
my
up in conversations.
that's one of my horrible habits is I take like 40-minute showers or something, and it's probably a horrible waste of water, and I'm sorry, but otherwise you get a really angry cat.
I take like 5-minute showers. It's like
know.
surprisingly fast. Like
It's kind of weird.
I don't know how or why, but I just.
So
I don't
together,
know.
when we lived together, it kind of balanced out, you know. In the total 45 minutes, 2 people showered. It's all good.
Yep.
Continuing the chat here. Yes, if you mix business and love life, you end up with an only-fa. What's an only-fa?
The what?
If you mix business and love life, you end up with an only-fa. ONLYFA dash. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. What personality types have you found incompatible? Like red flags. Okay, we're gonna go back to that one, but I want to keep reading what you wrote. Around my age, it's mostly just if we like each other, nothing else matters. I realize that's a more passionate, immature form of love. I think Sasha's love language then is words of affirmation, which y'all should read the 5 love languages because, I mean, in general, you should read that, but if you haven't read that, it definitely would help you.
Yeah.
With
I was gonna say that relates to the whole thing we're talking about, like the love language that. No, mine is quality time, but I don't have a partner that shares my love language, so I've had to adapt.
I feel, yeah, it's like them knowing your love language, but you also understanding theirs, which I think is a new, I mean, not currently new, but like in this relationship is new for me, where I've taken the time to be like, oh, well, he feels better when I do this, you know? And
yes, and that's where I said, like, it takes a certain person, because I feel like I've had other partners that either shared the same love language, so I didn't like pay attention to it, so it was easy, so I didn't have to pay attention to it. But I think when you have someone that does have a slightly different love language, you show yourself like how much you care about that person or the relationship, because now you have to adapt, or now you have to like figure out what works. And I feel like that to me has shown me like who has my main interest.
Right.
Because you have to take the time and like the effort to learn it and like understand it and make it work, but it's not easy.
It's not easy, and then you want to you keep reverting back to what you know. You know, I used to, oh my gosh, my love language was gifts, or like oh my gosh, 3-month anniversary, 4-month anniversary, 5-month anniversary, but then I would realize the other person didn't care about gifts. It was me. I cared about the gifts, but then I would give them gifts, so it's not the same, you know. Like, you have to give them what they care about. So
it's difficult because naturally your love language is going to be what speaks most to you, because that's how you feel like you're going to feel best, and that's how you're going to make your partner feel best. But if that's not their language, it doesn't do shit.
They don't care.
It's as if you could have not done it.
And then you spent all this time, but then now you're all butthurt, and you're like, oh, I made this for you. You don't even care about us. And it's like,
yeah,
they don't care about that anyway. Like the gifts, like anyway.
Or sometimes I've had like the words of affirmation thing, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. That's just a word. Like, that doesn't matter.
Mango King, he's like, playing video games, unproductive. Playing video games and streaming, entrepreneur. That's pretty good.
That should be like a quote for Twitch.
Sasha is a savage Cancer.
Oh, you have no idea.
No, she's so like aggressive
moon,
now.
I think I told him this last time. I have an Aries moon, so that's where it's from.
She's so aggressive now, and then she'll be like, I didn't even get a card. I didn't even get a card for our anniversary. She's like,
nothing. I've never gotten anything.
Everybody. I'm like, okay. So then, just to answer the other one, which I feel like we halfway answered, so I won't go crazy into it, but I definitely think because he asked, what is, like, some signs.
Like a red flag?
Oh, red flag. There you go. Sorry, I was like, what's the word? I guess because I've had major red flags, and because he's saying basically that he's in not that he's in college, but because he's younger. And I agree with you. Like, I mean, when I was in college, It was just like, oh, you're cute.
Yeah.
Maybe we have like English class together.
Right.
And that's fine. Like, I mean, I never had any issues, and like, yeah, maybe we broke up, but it was never like this horrible thing. Like, oh, you weren't supporting me. But that's why I'm like saying it now, where it's like, I mean, and if that person ends up being the person for you, great. But if that person ends up being the person for you, you should be able to recognize that this person is gonna be able to grow with me, or have high hopes that they would be able to grow with you. Because if you're already leaning into an entrepreneurial way, like, yeah, maybe you take another job in the future, maybe you do try entrepreneurship again, but as soon as you try entrepreneurship, that person can't retract into like a little cocoon and let you do it. Like, so maybe that's not important right now, but let's say you do become a Joe Rogan podcast, you're not gonna be able to do that alone. So even with a team, you're gonna need your person at home to support you, and you'll find your way of however that is, right? But yeah. So red flag would be just you know in your mind, every person that either I've broken up with or haven't broken up with, like, it's
you knew.
You're like, I sensed this and I just kept pushing through it, because you wanted to be in a relationship. And it's like, I'm saying to the world, there's someone out there for everybody, and you should never, ever settle. Like,
but that's why it's also good to just always focus on you, where it's like the relationship shouldn't get in the way of like what you're pursuing. Like, even if that person doesn't support you, you got to keep pushing through. Like, pretend you're single then. Like, what would you do if that person wasn't in your life? Like, you would still show up, you would still commit to it, you would still have to like take all the weight because you chose to do it because you wanted to do it. You didn't choose to start it because you happen to be in a relationship with someone. Like, no, that's usually never the case. So I guess like in times that I've had like rough patches and didn't have someone that I could count on, I was just like, okay, well, what would I do even if they weren't here? Like, yes, I could have a different partner that was like perfect, but what if that's not the case either? Like, you have to find a way to like mentally strengthen yourself to like push through all that shit, because at the end of the day, like, it's your thing. It's your baby, it's your business, it's your job, whatever it is. Like, that's more with you long term than the person you're with.
Well, unless that's the person you're with forever. But I get what you're saying.
But there's no guarantee of forever.
Well, I think
there is with you.
I think it'll also be obvious. Let's say you focus on you. You should always focus on you, regardless if you're in entrepreneurship or not, right? And it'll be obvious if that person fits in with you or not. Yeah. And when I mean focus on you, doesn't mean like forget about them, never do anything for them. But just, your health and well-being comes first, right? So even if you're in college, even if you're 18, even if you're 50, like, it should never be like you're trying to fit this mold kind of thing of a relationship. So, but we're only really saying that even more because some people can fit the mold if you both have corporate jobs and whatever. But because entrepreneurship is so unpredictable, you really need a strong relationship. In whatever way that is, but it needs to really be complementary because it's going to be so hard. Man,
that's a good point.
I was like pulling teeth with some previous people. Like, just me having to explain my own product to my significant other for the 10th time. Like, I mean, there are those people. That's like a red flag. Like, bro, it's been a year and I'm still explaining to you what we're even doing. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm asking you to freaking go network for me or something hard, Like, I'm literally telling you what I sell.
Right. For a while now.
Or someone sorry, my last note. Or someone that's so different from you where they're like opposites attract, and maybe opposites attract, but someone that's so different from you that now you have to spend so much energy understanding that person that you literally have no time to do your thing, whatever your thing is, And there are those people. Like, maybe they're into something maybe they're into, for example, archery and swing dancing and finger painting. And you don't do any of those things. But now you want to be with them, so you start learning it, you start trying it, and you don't have any time to do your podcast.
Yeah.
Like, horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Not the person for you.
I think, too, like, kind of what you mentioned where with entrepreneurship it's so unpredictable, so there's always so much changing. And I think even if your partner's not directly involved in what you're doing, as long as they understand that things change,
Yes.
I think that also made a huge difference for me. Like, actually, I was the one that was kind of like, with change, I like change, but at the same time, like, you still want something consistent and like long term. And my partner, maybe because he's a Sagittarius or something, like, he understands like things are always changing, like nothing's always going to be the way it is. So for him, everything's like a phase where it's like we might be in this phase now, but in a year we might be in a different phase, or in 5 years a different phase. And that helped me understand myself better and understand entrepreneurship better, just from like hearing his perspective and how like it was different from mine. But understanding like even if he didn't understand why I was doing Botana Bites or why I was spending all this time and money and and not seeing sales or whatever the issue was at the time for entrepreneurship, like, he understood that like things could change. And because of that, he understood my position. And it also kind of gave me hope, because I realized like this could just be a phase. Or even in our relationship, like things could change long term. And at least like this is someone that we've like paved like a path with each other. Because I always think too how a lot of people are like, don't start a relationship if you're starting a business, or, you know, if you can't focus on the relationship, then don't do it. But I feel like if you love the person and that's like the main thing that binds you guys, you'll find a way to make it work. It may not be easy or smooth or fully pleasant.
But I do think it's also what if they just think they're in love and they try to make it work and it's not working, or if it's actual meant to be
love, right? Which I think some things strengthen in time, or like there's certain hurdles that you guys might overcome through being an entrepreneur or through being in different phases in your lives. Like, not everyone's going to be in the same phase as you. It doesn't mean you can't date them or you can't be with them until the timing's right, because even when the timing's right, in 2 years it might be wrong.
Right.
Like, one of you could have a family member pass away and it really takes a toll on you, and now you can't show up like you used to show up in the relationship or in your business or whatever. Like, you didn't plan for it, but you gotta hope that like whoever you're with can understand that. So I think that like the whole process also just makes you learn a lot about being in a relationship, period, because there is no right time, there's no right equation to follow, and like it's part of just kind of the journey with it, to where it's like, I think the main lesson is just like, you always have to come back to yourself and just put yourself first. And as long as that's taken care of, then hopefully the universe will help you out and bring everything else your way.
Yeah.
Or you just say bye.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not working, next.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And some people are like, oh, but what if I don't find anyone? You go find someone. This one was in a long time ago, would be like, oh, but I'm never going to find anyone. As soon as she was single, it was just like a flock of people. Just like, literally would go have dinner. And like, the people next to us would be like, I'm just like, this is incredible. Like, but then, you know, she was so like, no, I'm never going to find anything.
Yeah, well, I think that's where there's so much truth, and like the universe has your back. Like, I think when you do take that next step or like leap of faith, or like you do accept what's challenging for you and you pursue it, whether it's breaking up with someone or starting a new job or moving to a new state, like I feel like the universe recognizes you like making a sacrifice of some sort, or making like a step towards change, and it like literally brings shit that you've been wanting. Like, it's weird. So that's a whole like other topic, because it's like spiritualish, but I think it's very true.
Yes, I agree. I'm scrolling to the end. Thank you, next.
But yeah, in terms of red flags, I think a big red flag would be someone that puts you down. Like, if they put down your business, or they like devalue it, or they like make it seem like it's insignificant or not important, I think that's a huge red flag. Like, because that to me is like part of respect. Like, that means even if they don't fully believe in your vision, they should still be encouraging and supportive. If they're not even able to do that, that means they don't respect you as a person. And that's a problem.
Yeah, and I know this sounds like we're ridiculous. Like, why would we date these people? I mean, the beginning, they're not like that, right? Because they don't know how involved we are in our things. And that's why I'm saying this, because you're not going to come out and be like, oh, yeah. Or, like, even if you say, I'm just going to use this example just because we know that he does this. But, yeah, you're like, oh, I have a podcast or a vlog or whatever. And it's like, they don't see, like, they just think that's cool, right? They don't see how much work that takes, you know? And that eventually you'd want them involved in a way, like, even if this is going to be super lame, but even if it's them recognizing you're working late and making dinner for you, like, even if it's that simple. And if that person,
yeah, like they could show up in the relationship in place of showing up in your business.
Right, exactly. Like, they recognize you're so involved in that, and they understand that it has nothing to do with you not caring for them. Like, but wait, we got some funny things from him here. Hold on. I know, I just like to read them. But, and I'm okay with settling for a rich sugar mama, no cap. You know, I've thought about this too. True. I think they should at least remember what you do for a living, and that was a throwback to what I was saying earlier, right? But yeah, I mean, I know it sounds like we're making this up, but like, yeah, they don't show that in the beginning. Like, it doesn't show that they're not going to connect with you. But I recognized probably like 6 months in, and I was like, this is not going to work. And then I still dated them for like a year and a half. So
yeah, but I think that says a lot about you. Like, I think, or that's where it's like, well, maybe this is a phase, or maybe it's because they're stressed or they're dealing with this or that. Like, you know, we're understanding, which I think makes us good partners. But I think there are times like when we're too understanding, or we ignore the red flags or whatever it is. But at the same time, that's like part of our process. Like,
but I think for that relationship, I shouldn't have even been in one, because I was so in the beginning structures of like figuring out what I was doing. So
yeah,
I didn't, I should have just focused on my shop. Which, because then it became even more obvious, like the discrepancy between this person who had no idea what I was even doing and me still figuring out what I was doing, you know?
right.
So it's not like the person, like if I would have been figuring out what I was doing and being with the person I'm with now, he's so like entrepreneurial and freelancer that he could probably lead me to a path. Whereas like someone who doesn't know anything about what I'm even doing, I don't know what I'm doing. It just like went like this. But anyway, so that was interesting. Cool beans. So the rest of the month, I'm kind of excited. Next week, Mango King, if you come back, and anyone else watching, we are going to be doing goal charts for 2021.
Oh, crazy!
I know, isn't that crazy? So, I mean, I'm going to bring kind of like a list, and I'm talking about like, yes, you can put entrepreneurial goals, but I mean, if you have like exercise or, you know, get the PS5.
It's like a full goal chart for the whole year for yourself and everything else pertaining to it.
Yes, so I would like whoever comes to bring a list of their own goals, but then we're going to make it into a nice chart, and that's the fun creative side of it. If you are not into that, I mean, even making a cool list that you can put up somewhere, or cutting out pictures from a magazine, you can even go that far out in the creative side, that match with your goals list. But I'm a huge fan of goal charts, because even if you think it's lame, just having it in front of you or even writing it down this one time, it's already on your mind way more than it was before. And even if you only get 30% of things from your goal chart done next year, that's 30% more than you probably would have gotten done. So, I don't like New Year's resolutions. My New Year's resolution is to do this. You're not going to do it. So,
It's like a way of saying goodbye to this year and hello to next year.
Yeah, and I think it would be nice too, because we've had such a crazy year, and I think it would be nice to sit and also all talk together of like the type of goals we should be making too, because are we adapting to this? Yes. But are we also kind of moving forward from it? Yes. So I'm also going to be talking, I'll bring a couple articles of like trends for 2021, which I used to think were lame, but I read trends for 2020, like when we, on our first Twitch, I think, we read trends for 2020. And I was like, dang, these were accurate. Like, we're almost through the year. And I'm like, those things happened. We did shift.
Right.
So
well, that's a good idea to incorporate.
So yeah, I'll just kind of read like where people are predicting trends. I mean, this is anything from technology to colors to activities. So, and maybe that'll influence us too as entrepreneurs, like in the direction that we want to take our businesses for the next year. And then our final Twitch for this year, also the following week, will be self-care. And whatever way you think of self-care, I'm going to be doing a mask. But if Sasha wants to be doing yoga, and if you like to draw,
that'd be cute.
So we want to do a self-care because entrepreneurs are always lacking on self-care, and it'll be a nice way to end out this year before we come back next year. So, goal charts. Bring some goals. That's all I got.
I love it.
Yes. 2021, I want to start a physical podcast and invite bigger guests. I also want to earn the scholarship to buy more equipment and secure funding. Yes! Dude, funding. I want to talk about that like while we do the goal charts, because that's one of my 2021 goals too, because hello, we can't be hustling on our own money. What do you think this is? I don't hate on unmotivated people, but they will never match the positivity of highly intelligent peers that push you and challenge your thinking. That is correct. Right. We're not going to freaking reject them, but I'm refocusing your time is more of it. My requirement for people, be passionate about whatever you do. Let me try to at least find you interesting. Exactly. So yeah, that's it for today on our end. But goal charts next week. I think I'm going to post a little bit more about it because I feel like other people would really, really like this. But yes, thank you so much, Mango King. You know, you come back for us, but we actually definitely come back for you too. Yeah, any other thoughts, Sasha?
No, I mean, I think, I won't say too much, but I think this week I'm going to try to do the YouTube. And I think we should start posting more on our Instagram, or at least we're trying to. So check that out, especially like, we'll give like previews towards our topics for the following week. Which is nice.
We're going to try to be better about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so make sure if you're just tuning in, follow us on everything. We're on
all the things.
We're on Instagram at Sasha and the Cat. And we're right here, live, coming at you on Twitch. And we'll see you guys next week. I never do this right. This is me at the end of everything. Like I never oh, there it is. Okay. Bye.